Hi guys, and welcome back to another tutorial about Android UI development. I'm making a sign-up screen today which looks like this on the right here. So this is what I have to make, and I'm going to try and do it right now. So I've already gone to layout, right clicked, and then done a new file like that, and I typed in it's called magic sign up right now, and XML, press XML and press finish. And when you get that file, you'll end up with this one that I'm working with here. And all I've done to start with, which I'll get rid of, is drop a linear layout in. So you look at the screen and you see that everything goes down the way, same as my other tutorial, I guess. If you've ever seen that, I did another one about a login screen. So the first thing you want to do is drag in the linear layout which goes down the screen. And we know we want padding straight away around the edge, so I'm just going to put 30 dp. And straight away we want the background too, so I'm just going to go straight away here and enter the background, which is default 2x BF. So we've got the background now. Now if you look at this image here on the right, it's split into, like, usually when designers do it, they do it with logic in mind, and they split them into nice sections so you can see. I usually work from the top, so we'll call that top section here 1 bit, and then you'd go miss that for now, and you see that that is another bit, and they're about the same size, and so is that is another bit about the same size. So we've got at least 1, 2, 3 things that are the same, and then this one actually breaks down into about 1, 2, 3 and a bit of them same sized chunks, if you know what I mean. So you've really got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things going down, and you can change the weight on them so they're not all the same. So with that in mind, this linear layout is good, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 6 other linear layouts now inside that. I'm not going to make 6 though, actually, because if you look at this big main one, that can be considered 1, and we just adjust the weight. So what I'm going to make is 4. I make 1 for the top there with sign up, 1 for the middle whole bit here with all the entry, 1 for these 2 buttons, and 1 for this bottom bit. Yeah, you might want to do a different thing with the tabs and things like that, but I've found that actually you might as well just code them using XML, and then you know, put that into its own XML file and call on it from all your other XML files, rather than try and use tab hosts or whatever the modern day equivalent of that is. It's just a nightmare, and there's no point. Nor do I use action bars, because they're a nightmare too. And there's no point. You can code it all yourself, and you can do it better with more flexibility and without the holdback of the APIs. Right, so I'm going to put 4 linear layouts in here, and I'm just going to copy and paste. Well, I'm going to get the first one set up and then copy and paste that. So because we want weight, we're going to go to width, fill parent, height, fill parent, which is weight to 1. You see it won't fill the whole thing because of the padding on the top one, which is 30, which we can adjust later, but it fills as much space as it can get. Right. So, and I'm going to call that, and I'm going to give that an ID. Oh, IDs in this are annoying. Like sometimes I just drag a button in and copy that because I can't remember the boilerplate code. So you drop that in, double click on it, and then yeah, that's the code there. Get rid of the button, and now we want to give this layout an ID, and I'll call it top. No, I'll call it A, right? Because it's easy. And then I'm going to copy that 3 times. So B, C, D. Rename them. B, C, D. And now what you have is okay, they're all nested in the first one, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to put them all individually outside the first one, like, so they're all in the parent top one. Yes, every time I record a video it doesn't work. It's because of my own stupidity though. Right, well, looks like I missed off the end tag, so right, let's just call that 1, right? So that's A, B, C, D. And you should lay out your XML nicely, like you would with HTML or something. Sometimes I can't be bothered because it's so experimental, and then later you think you'll come back to it, but you never do. So usually the XML ends up being pretty rough. Right, there we have it. A, B, C, D, and they all take up the same space for now anyway. So in A, I might just call A the sign up title holder. Sign up title holder. It doesn't really matter, it's mostly for yourself. I can hear my kettle boiling, so I'm going to get that coffee and come back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Now this top one, you can see, like the designer has nicely probably thought about this and split it, so it's kind of 50-50 really, across width-wise. So you see the sign up button really could take 50%, and then these two little buttons could take 50%. Now, one of the annoying things about this project is that they haven't supplied the images properly, so I have to cut them out myself. And sorry for all the coughing and stuff, by the way. Always got a cold when I do videos. Maybe there's a correlation. So now I have to cut out them myself, which I find quite annoying. But here's a technique that will hopefully help you. Now what I'm going to do there is just roughly try and cut out about half, like that. And I'll do image crop, and then I'll check the size of this image, so I'll go to image size. That's 558 and 288. 588, 288. That was what it was, right? Let me just check. 558, 288. Yeah. Always check these things. Now that is actually obviously the 100% view, that's why it looks so much bigger. This one's zoomed out 33%. But that gives you a general size, because you want every button to be the same size really. And now all I'm going to do is undo that crop and turn off the background here and try, oh no, I'm just going to deselect actually and put the background back on. I'm going to take the sign up button, the text there, and I'm going to drag that into here and try and just place it kind of roughly what they had done. Theirs wasn't exactly in the middle, it was just a bit to the left. Right, so that is roughly it, and I'm just going to test that for now just to see if anything has gone wrong or anything like that. Now you probably don't need, you've got to turn off the background on here obviously because you want it to be a transparent PNG. And you probably don't need 24-bit, but what I'm going to do is paint the background black for now, briefly, and then when I save, check if I need it. Some of these fonts, like, they go weird if you save them in 8-bit, but that one you can see will work between 24-bit and 8-bit, no difference. And obviously 8-bit, if you look on the bottom left here, is only 2.8K, 24-bit is 4K, and that can exponentially go up, so that looks okay. So get rid of the black background. Save for the web, PNG 8, save it out into the correct directory, which I'm already in. You can just copy and paste that from the one that you're working in, which is somewhere around here. And I'll call that, I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, sign up header text. Doesn't matter. Actually, you should probably keep the thing header text like in the first one, because if you have more then you can look for them easier. Header text sign up, doesn't really matter what you call it as long as you remember it. Now hit save on Eclipse because that will actually refresh your project. And now we want to change this one from being vertical to horizontal, because you can see it's going along the way, and we want to move that image, right? We want two like sections, don't we? So I'm just going to test it with the first one, and I'm going to use well, they don't need to be clickable in any way. I'm just going to use an image view, drop that in there, and what did I call it? Header text? Yeah. Double click on that, and that's added 1, and now we'll make it fill the whole thing like that, and we'll give it a weight of 1, so it should fill the whole thing. And then if we duplicate it, copy and paste it, I mean, and you have to change the variable name these days, so we won't worry about them for now. Then what you get is 2 either side of each other like that, which is almost what we want, because obviously we want that graphic on the right there, so at least it shows that it's kind of working. Now I'm going to cut out that graphic on the right, or if it's just a graphic like that, which it is, thankfully, I'll drag it in here and let go, and as you can see, it's transparent, but that doesn't matter. That means it will need 24-bit because it's got transparency. Now put the sign in back on just so you can see the Y layout if it's the same, you know, because you want that circle, the one circle, to line up roughly. And it's actually on theirs, it's actually moved to the far right, so we'll do that and we'll turn off that. And if we save this out again as we'll call this, like I said, use 24-bit PNG because they would look ugly, they wouldn't work. You need 24 there to get the transparency, semi-transparency I mean. We'll call this header, is it text? Yeah, text stages. That'll be alright. The stages of sign up. We'll go back to that, save Eclipse, go to the image view, change its source to header text stages, and we're getting close. Looks a bit small. Why does it look so small? Yeah, it does look quite small, although anyway, for now that'll do, because you want to do it roughly and then fine-tune it really. So what I'm going to do now is this white box in the middle, and we're going to call that input holder, data input holder. Doesn't matter as long as it's clear to you what it is when you come back to it. And this one is huge, so we want to give it a better weight than the rest of them. So if we give that 0.5, or I always get confused. Yeah, that's right. If you give that 0.5, it takes up more room. So the weight is actually if they're all on 1, they all share the same weight. And then if you make one smaller, it has more of the space. Again, I think that is inverted, but I blame my my left-handedness. And I've just noticed actually that at the bottom here we don't want the padding to be included in the 4 at the bottom. So what we can do with that is briefly rename that to tabs holder, and then take it out of the initial linear layout. But that won't work, will it? Because it's now outside of. Yeah, it's actually outside of the main one. So I'll put that back where it was for now. And what I'll do is I'll just remove the padding of this linear layout for now and go back in. And you can see that they all stretch, and we can worry about that later. And I might as well rename this one while we're at it, and I'll just call this cancel and continue holder. So it's starting to take shape, kind of. Now we want the data input one, and straight away we realise that actually we do need the padding back, and that's going to make things difficult. So what you want to do is make another linear layout like that, and put in these 3 in there. Oops, doesn't look like you can do 3 at a time. Oh, what's happened there? Alright, put that in there. Yeah, I mean, doing this with XML is actually a lot less error prone, but the graphical way is actually makes a lot more sense to me, obviously. Yeah, that's really struggling, that, isn't it? Right, just drop them in. Okay, forget that. I'm gonna have to do it with the XML. Let me just undo what I did. Alright, so there's the new linear layout, and there's the 3 that we're just dealing with. So if I take that one, and that one. Yeah, all three of them. Okay. Take the sign up, data input, and cancel and continue one, like that, and then just check what we've got now. So then you want to put them inside that one, which will have the padding on it, which means well, we have to set this to full parent again because it's a new one, and we have to give its weight. Oh, that's a good point, actually. We'll change this one to wrap content. It's got nothing in it yet. Well, I'm going to look at the tabs briefly now because I want the tabs to be out the way for the rest of the thing. And as I said before, it's extremely annoying that I have to cut these out myself. You know, there's no reason you should have to be a Photoshop pro just to code Android, but a lot of people expect it. I'm going to use the same technique here. Just going to have a sip of coffee. Image crop. Image size. 276 by 198. New image. 276 by 198. And then go back to what it was. And what you want to do is try and drag in from here. Like, I don't know what layers and anything they've done here. Is that a separate layer? It's all one, is it? Just one image in a directory. Okay, well, to make life easier here, I'm going to go back to what I had selected, reselect, and I am actually just going to save that out because it would be too much effort to try and move it all over. That itself will save. Don't know about JPEG 8, PNG 8, PNG 24. It looks fine with PNG 8. Save that out as tab_deck. Undo the crop, and now click on the this thing. Don't know what it's called, but not the pointer. The rectangular marquee tool. So you can move this along. And actually, I think if you hold Shift. Oh no. Well, that's cool, but I didn't mean that. You've got to move it along, and there should be a way, if you're a Photoshop master, to keep it exactly right, but I'm not 100% sure. But you do want these to be exactly the same size, so... You know what would have been a better idea would be to cut them all out in one go, because then you won't have to worry about the wide point as much, because they'll be in one. Now I'm going to crop that, right, so it's actually easier for me to select these now. But again, you still want them the same size, so you still got to reuse that. And I noticed the background there, I need to turn that off because we want that to be transparent. And that little yellow thing will have to go too. Right, I'm just going to crop that and save it again, actually, over the top of the other one. Tab deck. Yes. Undo the crop on the image, and now grab the marquee tool and just move it along so it hits the top and bottom. That's why I did that, because it's easier to see, especially if you zoom in. Actually, I'm a bit of a... I work out, zoomed out for ages, and then I realise what I'm doing. That's a lot easier, right? You can tell that it's actually fitting perfectly. Oh, is it? That's it. I think you can turn snap on in Photoshop, which would probably help that. So I'll crop that, and I'll save that one as, and then notice I'm just trying to take the bit with the line on the right there. You can actually see there's the red line that was separating them. I'm trying to keep that in the button. Now you probably shouldn't do that, but these days everything's so based on iPhone. Everyone thinks everything's so simple, and you know, they don't really know what they're doing, really. So you just try and do your best, and worry about the problems later if there is any, because normally will care, and that could be how it was done in the first place. Like I say, I mean, you've got to supply this to your coder, really, but this is what annoys me, that these people think they can just give you a Photoshop document. I think that's a bit lax, you know, given how much you have to code. 1 pixel to the right, so I get that red line in. Is that getting it? No. I'm going to switch on snap. It doesn't always help because it snaps too far and things like that, but actually I think it might have worked there. Yes, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. Actually, this yellow thing needs to go because it's just getting annoying, isn't it? Where's that? Just finding this yellow thing. There it is. Right, crop. Zoom out just so you can see what you're doing. Crop this one. Save it as tab. Oops. Tab underscore feed. Undo the operation there. And now for the final one, drag along here. Now you can see it's actually darker, so it's even. They've put that in to demonstrate what it's like when it gets touched, but then it doesn't help us really, because I'm going to have to manually do this probably, unless of course it's all in here. Oh yeah, it is. Look, I can just turn that off. Okay. Right, so we do the same image crop. I'm not going to worry about the highlighted version of it for now. That'll come later once things are working. Tab underscore cart. There's your cart. There's your 4 images done for the tab holder, right? So let's just whack them in. We'll give them. We'll use image buttons. And for now, we'll just use what was the first tab? Deck. Oh, you forgot to save. You have to save before it will rebuild your list of images. I'll go down to the source of the image button, type in tab, and deck. Right, so you've got one there. Now straight away you'll notice, let me get back just so we've got that in the background, we want to be able to see this, right? Although I might have to go back. Right, anyway, so get rid of the background of this by, can you see that grey behind it? We don't want that. So we go down to background, press hash key, FF, that'll make it black. And I've done it on the tabs holder and not the image button, but you can just go in, grab it, and drop it in. Now the background of that image button is like that, is transparent. So we'll make it fill parent for now, right? And it will take over the whole thing. Press 1. Now we want to change the scale type too here. I've got to make this bigger so you can see. Because there it's getting cut off, so you can actually use fit center if you want, or center crop. No. Well, let's use fit XY for now, right? Because that's the stretchy one, and then we can at least see what's going on. And now we want 4 of these because there's 4 tabs along the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we go back to the layout, you'll see that we have actually used the wrong linear layout. So go to linear layout, orientation, horizontal. Boom, that looks quite close, doesn't it? I don't know why that isn't transparent. It's actually white above the tab. Should be transparent, that. Ah, background, no. Is it that? Maybe try hash 000000000. Oops. Ah. Oh, Eclipse is doing its lovely little mess ups. Hash 123 123. I can tell Will that actually do it? Just give these unique names for now as well. Quite an annoying feature actually, that, but it could be a warning instead of a compile error. Okay, so using the 6 zeros and the extra 2 on that did make it transparent. Now I figured that anything with the 2 extra would do it, but I think in Android maybe not. That's actually made it white. Anyway, so we put that transparent background on all of them, and the tabs should look damn good. Now you can see they're a little bit squashed, and if you turn it there they will stretch. So obviously this is the exact kind of behavior you're trying to avoid when you're making multi-platform apps for any screen size. That's funny. You should make a sort of 9-patch image, I assume, for this. Something that would stretch. But, you know, a bit lazy to do that, and I think it's a bit overkill, and I haven't been paid to start dabbling in that sort of madness. And I think 9 patches are useful, but a bit annoying to make, and I always dread doing it. Right, so at least they're now out of shape there. One thing you'll notice is that there's a gap between them. Now, how do we fix that gap? Actually, could we just make the background the color of that? I wonder what would happen if we did that. So, that color there, we can just select it using that thing. Copy and paste that, and then see. It wouldn't work now. We need the transparency. I was going to try that on all of them, because technically that would work as long as you change it when you tap it. But now we're missing transparency at the top of the button. But you know what? I don't really care. We can find another way to do that later. Right, so let's swap the buttons in for the right ones. Save that. In case Eclipse decides to have a wobbly. Tab collection. Tab feed. Tab cart. And this is actually for a sort of card trading app, by the way. Okay, so they look pretty good. Now let's whack in the cancel and continue buttons just while we're working our way up. You know, whatever you find most fun at the time is usually what I do. Or what seems most logical if you can't think of something. So this cancel continue, you really am just going to take the actual outline of the button like that. I'm going to do image crop, image size, 444153. Make a new image with those dimensions. This is because we want both the buttons to be identical, and it won't be if we cut them out without this idea, or it's likely that it won't be. Deselect that and go back to what you had. Now, is the cancel button a separate image? Must be. Click on it. Yes. Drag that into your thing. Just center it up like that. And then turn off the background. And then export that as. Now this will need to be 24-bit because it needs semi-transparency. Export that as button underscore cancel. Yes. And now what we want to do is grab the other one, the continue button, drag that in, and we want it to be identically on top of the other one, which is why I did this in the first place. Oh, it's bigger. Well, that's annoying. You know. In that case then, it may not matter as long as I try to get it right, because we'll need to give this thing a bit more weight. But there is always a problem now that the Y value is different, you know. And the one will be higher than the other by a few pixels. But we'll worry about that later. I say that a lot, but I remember one of my lecturers said that me, and It just rung true forever. Okay, width 504, height 153. That's strange. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Nope, doing that. What's the image size? It's because I'm confused. Right? Oh, it's the height that's the same. I was going to say the width couldn't be the same. The height being the same is encouraging because it means that I dragged it quite accurately. So drag this into your new one. Position it as best you can in the middle. Turn the background off, and then we'll save that as button. Continue. Go back to here, hit save, and now we will go and try and populate cancel and continue. You can see that this one is actually going down the way instead of across the way. It's vertical instead of horizontal, so change it to horizontal. And let's just copy one of the image buttons from down here because we don't want to go through that pain again. Drop two of them in, like that. Right, and now just change the image on them. Go to the source and type, what is it, tab, oh no, not tab, button. Button cancel, button continue, and we want the backgrounds on these to actually be transparent, so we'll go to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's 8. And we'll save that and go back to the graphical layout. I'll give them unique names because Eclipse is annoying. Right, this is looking, well, if I can get back to the image that we're looking at, it looks like it could be quite close to looking quite cool. Not bad, not bad. It's almost there, isn't it? Obviously, I've been avoiding the hard work, bit of procrastination. So I'm going to pause for a second, and when I come back, I'm going to do that middle bit and tidy everything up, and that'll pretty much just be done. Now, I probably will do a follow-up on the actual interaction of stuff, but this one is just UI. And there's a lot more stuff on my channel if you look. It's maybe not that well organized, but just look for Android or UI or Java. There's lots. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. And now we have to do the data input holder, which is the correct orientation, because we want it to go down vertically. And we can see it's split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, 8 really, because it's got date of birth. 8 sections. So, what I'm going to do is, for the beginning, I'm just going to put all text fields in there to make sure it works. So, that is for the username, is the top one. Oh, email, sorry. I'll drop that in. And then we'll give that fill parent. Fill parent 1 for now. Which means it will take up the whole thing. And like I said, we want 8, so we'll just copy that 8 times for now. Request focus. What's that doing that? I think I've seen that happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you can see that's quite close. So top one will be the same. That's fine. Second one's fine. Third one's fine. Fourth one's fine. Fifth one, actually, we want 2. So instead of that, we want a linear layout. So what we'll do is, what was it? 1, 2, 3. That one there. So we'll just drop a linear layout in there, and it'll be a horizontal one. We'll go into that. Let's give all of these unique names for now. Save that, get rid of the errors. Right, where's our linear layout? This one. So we actually want that to go in the linear layout. And we want two things. We want address and city. Now address is weird. What's that mean? Is that just your first linear address? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so we go back out there. Now Eclipse has told us there's problems. I think that this linear layout has to be fill parent. Exception raised during edit text cannot cast to view group. Oh, that's a new one. Take these two edit texts out for now just to see what's happening. In fact, since we know all of them other ones are going to need to be taken out anyway, let's just get rid of them. Right. So like I said, the first four are okay, so we need to get rid of that one too. And now Eclipse is not actually selecting what I double click on, which it should. That's the whole purpose of this thing. There it is, working. Try to save it. Right. So these are going to be two text fields anyway. Edit texts. Sorry. 1, 2. The linear layout has no orientation. That'll be the issue. Oh, it does have an orientation. Default. Right, so we got that. Looks like the address in the city. Now we want another one, but it's the same, but it's got 3. So we'll just copy that whole thing, paste it, and add one more edit text. And I agree, this XML is really dirty, but what is the issue right now? You know, they may as well get things working. A lot of people don't like the graphical layout, and that's one reason to keep your XML tidy. But I love working in graphical layouts. It makes life so much easier. Right, now we want the date of birth one, which is the same. So copy that, paste that, go back, and we're close. We actually want a line for the word date of birth. So what I'm going to do is just take that part of the linear layout there. This is for the text that says date of birth, and then I'm going to copy and paste it there, and then see where I am on the graphical layout. So we should have an empty linear layout. Yes, there it is. And then drag in just text view and just change the text on that to date of birth. Save that, wait for all the silly errors to disappear, probably because I copied and pasted. No idea why that is now a runtime error. I guess because it could get very confusing if you refer to the wrong one. And what I'll do at the end is I go through and name these properly. Obviously I don't leave them like this because it's just nonsense, but just to get the core going, I do this. And I only start doing this because it's a new issue. Right. Now, how close are we? So you got the top one, that's fine. Second one, third one. Fourth one's fine. Address and city is the fifth one. The next one is state, zip code, and country. And then you got the date of birth thing. And then the bottom one is actually missing. It makes you wonder why is that missing? Didn't I duplicate that? Well, time to give them more meaningfulness, you know. So you can call this top one email address. Next one can be username. Next one can be password. And then the next one here should be address, city, and just go back to the graphical layout and make sure you're not doing the wrong ones. Yeah, that's right. City. Oh no, it's not, you see. re-enter your passwords. Yeah, I always get them wrong. Re-enter password. Actually, you should put ET on the end of all of them. Was I doing that? No, you should really, just so you know what type it is when you bring it in. Enter address ET, username ET, standing for edit text. Password ET, re-enter password ET. And I'll go into the graphical layout. Yeah, this one should actually be address ET, and this one city ET. Then let's go out again, and we want to give these linear layouts meaningfulness, so I don't have to keep counting down when I look at them. So I'm going to call this one, just copy an ID from there. Oops. I'm going to call this one address linear, just because it's a linear layout that holds the address. And this next one will be address 1 linear, and what we'll call the next one is address 2 linear. Just put that there temporarily, get an ID. Annoying how it doesn't give you a generic ID for linear layouts. I guess it thinks it would give you all those errors too often, the duplicated names. Oh, and I forgot to rename that to address 2 linear. Right, so now we have address 1, address 2. Let's just call this one date of birth label holder. And then the last one here that we can see anyway is oh no, it's alright, date of birth. Yeah, okay. This is why you give them meaningful names. I thought I'd missed one, but I haven't, because once you look at them properly. Right, so then you call this one date of birth linear. Right, something's not right, is it? It's the padding. Because before we wanted this tabs not to be padded, so we moved it. And then this main linear here, which is holding everything, should actually have the padding on it. Now let's give it a name too. We'll just call this main linear. We won't have to refer to it probably anyway, will we? So it doesn't matter. Now we want to give it some padding. I'm going to give it 30 dp just to see what happens. Boom! Getting a lot closer. Of course, on the right there, all those images and that, I think you can't really expect to have a little mail sign, a little person, a little lock, and that's extremely custom, and they probably don't even intend that. The designer's just like, oh, this looks cool. So usually I just wait until I'm quizzed about that, and if they don't quiz you, then don't bother. Right, now 30 seems a little bit excessive actually, doesn't it? 30, so let's put that down to 20. Okay, even that seems excessive when you look at the thing. 10, maybe. Aha, well this main linear is actually white. That's what is making it look strange, isn't it? So I'm just going to give that a hash FFF, which is the hexadecimal for white. And now you can see that has made everything look weird, but actually it also highlights the fact that we need padding inside this layer too. So I'm going to give it another 10 dp on that internal one there. That knocks them all in. Looks like they want a little bit more than that, so I'm going to give 15 dp, density independent pixels. Now that's strange, because it's done something to this. All I can assume is that this is not set to fill parent. Oh, it is. Well, you know, the date of birth one doesn't need to be that big. First of all, let's make it fill the whole thing, so it's not sitting in the corner. And actually, you know, this one doesn't really need to be like that. You can just change the height to wrap content and take away the weight. That way it will only give you the space it needs. Once you click on it, it'll shrink like that. And that's quite good actually for now. Let's give it a little tiny bit of padding at the top, just because it looks like it does have something. Let's give it 2dp there. Yep. And now let's zoom out a bit. So they have hints in them. That might make it. I'm searching for reasons why it doesn't look complete, and then putting them in, and then eventually when you're done doing that it'll look complete, because you'll keep noticing issues. So they have hints in there, so I'm going to put the hints in. That will make it look more complete. And I'm going to put the same as what they have, someone at email.com. You see it's getting cut off there, but I'll worry about that in a second, because I'm going to duplicate that for each one and then just type it in. Please enter a username. Not sure about the capitalization of username, but that's what the client wants. That's what the client gets. Please enter password. Address. Re-enter password. Why does my eye just skips over that one? It really does. Please re-enter your password. Next one will be address. We'll just put the word address. Next one will be city. And we've got state. Oops, daisy. Zip code. Should go back here just to make sure I'm not getting this wrong. State, zip code, country. No, I was getting it right. Probably end up changing some of these for actual drop downs as well anyway later, but it's easier to change things when they're already working than it is to do it later. As you can see, these actually are drop downs at the bottom. So I'm going to put 3 drop downs in. What are they called again? Choice boxes, I think. I swap between Codename 1 and Android, so it's quite hard to remember the differences and even flip your head between the paradigms. Spinner, that looks like what they are. So I'm going to delete them 3 things there. Now we know they work anyway, you know. Drop in a spinner. Give that fill parent. Fill parent. I'm not going to worry about what's in the spinner yet. Worry about that at a later date. Be a piece of code can just go, you know, populates spinner, and you pass an array of whatever. That's if Android doesn't have a built-in thing for that, which it presumably may do. Right, so it's looking a bit better here. Now, as you can see, these text areas don't have the space they require, really. And I feel like there's a bit of space being wasted at the top here, quite a lot of space actually. Even though the design sort of has that, you can never fully take the design truly seriously, because the guy is not an Android developer, you know. They're good, but they're not always perfect. These guys are making everything right, but nearly always you find that there is a simple way to do it. But where's the HD? I look at it on a few resolutions just to try and find my own mistakes. Alright, Nexus 5. As you can see, even on an Nexus 5 that would not work. So it's not actually a resolution, it's to do with my layout here. Now there's too much of a gap after cancel and continue. Now what I'm going to do actually is remove the padding from here from the main linear. So it goes back to being like that, just temporarily, because now you can give individual padding to this one, or actually that's a margin, is it? Now I must admit I'm not really used to using margins, but I'm trying to get into them. I haven't even read up what they do, so probably shouldn't be touching them, but let's have a look. 10 dp. I have read up what they do, obviously, but that was a while ago. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. As you can see, their screen's a lot taller than ours, because they're using a full HD thing, but then so is Nexus 5. Right, I don't really want this button to be so tall, I think. What happens if I get rid of the weight and change the height to wrap content? So there is a bit of experimentation in this. You can't always get it right first time. And that actually does look a lot more like the design, right? And that gives me a lot more space to give to the data input holder, which I think should probably have, is it 0.4? Yeah, more weight to it. 0.3. Of course, you don't want to damage the other things too much, but you do need the space. Cancel, continue. Yeah, that looks okay. There's a bit of a gap above cancel, continue that could probably go. Well, I don't know what's causing that. It's been caused by... Oh, it's the padding on the bottom of that one. Okay. So what you can actually do there is... take away the padding on all of it and just put it on different sides. For example, I don't need it at the bottom. Actually, that's wrong. I was talking about the margin there. So go back and put that padding back in. Now the margin on here, I don't really need the margin. No, I do. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm just getting a bit confused because it just, you know, it doesn't feel like it quite is fitting. Let's go to the Nexus 1 again. I like to work in the lowest one like this, so you can make sure it will work. Right, these two buttons here. You know what, I'm going to run this on a device because I just want to see what it looks like at this point, you know, because the text and stuff in these things is always too big or wrong, basically. But I'm going to pause this. Actually, yeah, I'm going to pause it and run it. Okay, so I've tried it on my HTC Butterfly, and it looks like this. This is an exact screenshot from DDMS. And as you can see, it does actually look a lot better on the device. It does fit. The bottom is correct. The continue buttons, I guess, need to be padded out a little bit more. So I'm going to do that now. The cancel and continue buttons. To do that, I'm going to use the margin again, same as I did before, which was, what did I use? A 10, I think. Eclipse is really struggling. Look at it. Why is it so intense to do a bit of GUI editing? Let's check my CPU meter, because Skype also is completely ridiculous right now. Takes its own core. Oh well, that looks fine actually. Alright, I use margin 10 on that. Let me just kill a couple of things in the background here. Yeah, like 15 Chrome tabs will do it for you. Cancel and continue holder. Come on. Jesus. I love Java, but in this instance, IDEs do seem to be quite sluggish. Probably down to Java. Right, so that's strange, because I must have cut the margin instead of... It's doing it again. Every time I try and do anything with a video on Skype, it'll mess up at one point. And it takes hours to load. When I say hours, I mean minutes, but still. Yes, I cut that. Right, so looking at the right here, the iPhone one, or the designer's one,